What is something you did once and never again? Tried to intervene during a street fight. Got shot for my troubles. Bless us with more story, friend. Were you out getting a coffee? Walking your gator? Where were you shot? Glad you're here to write any of this stuff in the first place. Was at the bar with my ex-wife. 2 regulars, one of which I considered a friend, started arguing. My friend went outside to go home and end the problem. Asshat decides he's gonna continue the fight in the parking lot. There was a group of us that followed, and when he went to pull a gun, my drunk ass thought it would be a good idea to step in and try to stop it all. Ducker shot at me 3 times. One of them hit my leg. To be fair, it sounds like you might have saved your friend's life. Went to Times Square for New Year's Eve in New York City. I live in NYC and I figured it was the kind of thing I wanted to see but didn't need to see again. Went in 2000 when I was 18. Got there 11 a.m. and stayed for 13 hours in the freezing cold but with close spots to the ball drop and screen. I'm glad I did it. I'm also glad I've never done it again. Edit, thanks for the awards. Cool seeing others who had a similar experience or who were there that day themselves or even at the exact same age. Got more karma and awards than I've gotten in 4 years and it actually kinda made my day, so thanks again. I used to live right next to where the ball would drop, so I would go out on the fire escape and watch it from there every year. Got some booing from the crowd, but it was nice to see the event. Wouldn't go out of my way to see it again though. They booed you for being able to watch it from the fire escape? People are stupid, man. WTH. Maybe it's just because I'm British and taking the piss is part of our DNA, but that sounds hilarious. You boo them, but not seriously, more like look at this cunt with his free vantage point than they do a wanker sign back at the crowd and everyone has a laugh. Just good-hearted banter. Ran out of toilet paper when I was 11, saw alcohol wipe cloths and thought that would work just fine. Nope, as soon as I did that first wipe it was as if the sun teleported into my asshole and I was hopping around the bathroom trying not to squeal. Mom opened the door to check on the noise and saw me jumping around with an alcohol pad between my cheeks. Keep alcohol away from your anus. Bought a $20 lottery ticket. Lost $20. Never again. I stole a tester eyeliner from the makeup section at a store when I was 17. The security guy took me aside in a small room and questioned me, asked for my information, and to scare me, he said this would always be in my record and companies won't want to hire me anymore, and I burst into tears and had a panic attack. He said he'll let me off if I pay double the price of the eyeliner, so I did and he let me go. Now, I don't know how much of what he told me was real and if the resolve was legitimate, but if he tried to just scare me into not becoming a serial swiper, it worked. Pretty sure he just pocketed the cash after. Yeah. That's definitely a shakedown, lol. Cocaine. I remember feeling alive, feeling like myself for the first time, feeling like I was bursting at the seams with creative ideas. I was finally the person I wished I was, as creative as I wished I was, and as motivated as I wished I was. I felt like I had found the secret holy grail of success and happiness. Then I thought, oh. Duck. This is why people get addicted to it. So I vowed not to do it again and went back to being depressed and unmotivated. A friend of mine in college did some cocaine, and sat down and wrote a poem. He actually got it published. He never did cocaine again. He never wrote anything for publication ever again. He was fine with both of those things. Edit. People keep asking questions about the poem and so on. This was over 30 years ago. I have no idea. Man, some people just have so much more self-restraint than I do. Right? I did coke and I too felt alive, and happy, and creative and like I finally had the energy to do everything I wanted to do. So I did. I did lots of cocaine and became addicted. Lol, I'm clean now, but I don't get how anyone can resist it. Removing paint from a table. I still need to finish sanding the thing, but that was a nightmare. Who paints a table with like 30 coats? Edit. Use Citrus Strip Safer Paint Remover, then scrape the flat surfaces with a scraper, then use steel wool on the other parts, rinsing the chunks of paint off in between as it gunked up the steel wool real quick. Then repeated the process a few weeks later, then used a belt sander on the flat surfaces, now just need to hand sand the other surfaces. It's like you want to quit but you are too invested at that point. 29 different owners. all of whom were smart enough to just paint over the last one rather than spend a week sanding off the 28 coats before them. But how else do you get a reclaimed wooden table? Spelunking cave exploring. For starters, it begins and ends with going through a million bats. And the journey in between is just too dangerous, in the last place in the world you'd want to get hurt. And super tight squeezes are freaky. The story of the guy who got stuck upside down in the Nutty Putty Cave system will have me never ever getting into spelunking. His body is still stuck there because it was too unsafe and difficult to get him out. It's so disturbing and sad. Every single time cave exploration or spelunking is mentioned on Reddit, the Nutty Putty Cave gets mentioned. And for good reason. Hard pass. Not a fan of being eaten by the planet. Assume the green stuff on the sushi tray was avocado. I'm sure several first-time sushi eaters thought the same. I know I did. This is hilarious and also, I'm sorry. Skydive. Nope, didn't help with my fear of heights. I just went to an open sea scuba diving course. We had a woman that was with us that was afraid of the ocean, and being submerged in water. She said this is what she wanted to do to get over her fear. She got in the gear, got to the end of the boat, jumped in, then immediately and calmly said, "Get me back on the boat." Back on the boat, cool as a cucumber, she took off her gear and was like, "Nope, not doing it." Top 3 scariest moments of my life right there. She grabbed a water and a power bar and calmly waited for the course to finish and for the boat to take us all back. Respect to her. Always nice to see a person confront their limits and then respect them. I can do this, it's just water, I'll be fine, duck. Carolina Reaper infused gummy bear. I almost called for an ambulance. Legitimately thought I was going to die covered in sweat, shit and vomit. Take us through the timeline here. Was the mass exodus of bodily fluids instantaneous or delayed over time? Stayed at a bed and breakfast. Am not social enough to socialize with people during breakfast. Same. Came downstairs at 9:15 because they said breakfast was served until 9:30. The owner said, "There you are." And showed me to a table with a little card that said Mrs. Winecube, in fancy script, and then proceeded to scold me that all the other guests were already done eating. Never. Again. I've never stayed at a BB, and after reading this I don't think I want to. They can actually be quite charming, and for many of the ones I've stayed at on road trips where we don't have time to stay for breakfast, they often surprise us with delicious breakfast and coffee to go. Good ones won't belittle you for skipping breakfast, they'll still try and make you feel taken care of. The bed and breakfast, I went to drop breakfast off at our room. No socializing required. One time, I was around 12 or 13, I suddenly took interest on my sharpener. Since my pinky finger was small enough, I decided, why don't I sharpen my finger? Like, why the duck not? So I plunged it in and twisted, hard. Took nearly a week to heal. One of the most stupidest things I ever done. I did this as a kid too, it's like some sort of whack childhood intrusive thought that you actually act on. I did it with a stapler as a kid. At least that only left 2 small holes since my finger was too thick to cause the staples to bend around like they do on paper. But it's weird. I didn't even understand exactly why I did it, it just came to me while I was looking at it. Spray deodorant on my arse to cover up the smell of my farting. I was 6, once that spray hit my bullet hole, the burning began. This year I tried to use spray deodorant on my head to keep my scalp from sweating. I'm 26. It didn't work, and it just made my hair grungy and water resistant. I showered multiple times a day and it still took a week to get back to normal. I shaved my head once as a teenager. Like super bald with a razor. Then I put aftershave on it. I am not a smart man. I'm imagining a Home Alone situation here.